Good day, my friends. We're told that we can be anything we want. We're told that we can tackle the beast, get any career we want, or if we just put our motivation behind ourselves, that we can see what life's truly about and live a fulfilling life with lots of excitement and having enough means to get by. And this idea of a utopian society where everyone is happy seems to be a consistent theme throughout history. And all of our ancestors up to this point have been working towards more or less the same goal: to make life livable for human beings who have been put upon this planet or have evolved upon this planet to the point where we are today, where we're questioning our values, our intelligence, we're questioning our consciousness, and questioning the world around us. Sometimes getting a better understanding of the world around us is very important, so we have decided to take science as a modern day religion, if you will. I don't mean to say that all science is religious-like, but what I'm saying is that throughout history, mankind has attached himself to religions and to belief systems to try to explain the world around him. We didn't understand what the sun was, we didn't understand what the moon was, why the stars twinkled. We didn't know what was down under the crust of the earth. All we know is that we could see certain things, and it appeared that natural disasters would happen for no apparent reason, and so we assumed that it had something to do with the lower state of man's mind, or that we were creating these things, or God was punishing us. So through science, we've learned that many of these things aren't personal. In fact, very few of them are, if any. That whether or not you believe in God, or how you define a God, becomes irrelevant in the picture of how happy are you in life. Now, religion was brought about to bring people comfort towards the things that they don't understand. Bring people comfort where they can come together as a group and realize that we're all faulty, flawed humans. And it's not that religion was ever designed to control. It was that religion was designed to understand and to help people to understand. And like all tools that are developed and that are widespread, it was used for ill as well, which was to tell people that you don't go against your leaders, you don't go against your kings, that you live humbly and don't worry about making more, that, the meek shall inherit the earth. So in a way, it was a way to keep people content in their lower states of being, or content in their lower states of income. And this leads me into a point I need to make, which is that not everyone is poor because they don't have a choice. Not everyone is poor because they can't earn money. Not everyone is poor because they haven't worked hard enough. Many people are poor because they have no interest in money. They have no interest in value of paper, or they realize that the prestige in life doesn't come from having, it comes from doing and being. So, fast forward to now, in this modern day, we still have these lingering threads from past religions, which we've tried to give new understandings to through New Age movements, through the 1800s and the 1900s, and they've continued on today, taking the same old ideas and revisiting them in a way that people feel like, yeah, I can agree with that, I can understand. So this brings me to the crux, or the main point of my discussion here, which is how much of that is healthy and how much of it is unhealthy, as far as trying to yearn for something that we can never prove or disprove, whether it be an afterlife, or think that we're being watched and loved, whether we think that our loved ones that have died are watching over us, or whether we have a guardian angel. All of these comforts that we create, the people who have these comforts will sit and discuss them, and they'll seem happy and content in life. Say, yes, I believe in these angels, I believe in these angels. The person who tends to be scathing towards them, the person who despises religion, who hates anything that's not logical in their mind, who believes that if you can't prove it to them, then it's not worthy of exploration, and those who laugh at people and call them idiots for believing certain things, I've been observing this my whole life, and I've looked at both sides, and I've said I don't want to be a deluded fool who merely believes in a religion to make myself happy. Yet I don't want to be a deluded fool who spends his whole life telling other people that what they believe isn't right. It's not worth it to tell people that what they believe is incorrect, unless it's something that's going to benefit society as a whole, such as we see a company that's polluting, or we see a person who is harming another. But when it comes down to personal beliefs, it's really easy for people to cast stones at each other and say, you're an idiot for believing this, you're a fool, why would you think this? So rather than getting down to the facts and figures of why we believe things, maybe we should eliminate that sometimes and ask ourselves, why do we believe things that we know may not be true? And why do we seek comfort in ideas that we don't even understand, such as afterlife or heaven, whatnot? I spent many years laughing at people who believed these things until I understood why. And I realized what's the most important thing in the short time that we're here on this planet is to make sure that you're a happy person. And there are people like The God Delusion, the book by Richard Dawkins. He's a man who is frustrated with religion. He believes that religion is the scourge of the planet, that it needs to be eliminated, completely removed from all schools, all countries, not just in the public sector, but in the private sector as well. And he stops short of saying that people shouldn't be permitted to practice it in their own homes. I've watched Richard Dawkins. I've read his books and his papers, as well as Sam Harris, who is another atheist. And both of these guys who gave me a strong perspective on how much energy a person will put into disproving another and how far they will extend it to telling people that not just that this is the damaging component, because I have no doubt that religion has damaging components. I know this. If you tell your child that they're going to suffer and go to hell, that can cause some serious mental disturbances in that child if they fear that they're being watched all the time and that they might go to hell and burn for eternity. These things are damaging to a person. But as for full-grown adults making their own decisions, you get to a point where you just have to decide what you want out of life. And if that includes religion, then so be it. If that includes science, so be it. Whatever you believe, whatever you don't believe, is really irrelevant to the question of, are you happy? And are you making others happy around you? Or is your happiness coming at the misery of others? If so, then it's not true happiness. And if you feel miserable because other people are happy, that's the opposite end of the spectrum. The illusion that we look at people and say, they must be happy, they must be content. There's a mask, or rather a pair of goggles that we all wear. And it filters out negativity from people's personal lives. We see a person who is sitting there with coffee and they have a nice sports car and they've got their nice mansion and they seem like content, happy people. So that's reflected through society to think we have to have means to be happy. And it's not the case at all. True happiness comes from an acceptance and understanding of who we are as individuals. To be able to look at our flaws and look at our faults and work on them, but realize that some of them are just part of us. That there is no perfect human. That those who strive to be perfect often have the most faults. Open yourself up. Let yourself be ridiculed. Don't worry about it. It's not gonna change who you are as an individual. If your ideas cannot be exposed and be ridiculed without you walking away with a smile on your face, then perhaps it's time to rethink what you believe. They're the few things that I truly firmly believe can't be disputed by others, in my mind. A person can have their opinions on things, but my beliefs extend far beyond other people's lives. I've spent my years obtaining as much wisdom and understanding about the world as I can. Yet still I'm a child inside. I have that child mind that, that wants to just go out and run around in circles and look at flowers and find the most, the simplest beauty amidst the chaos. And that's really what makes us who we are. I should say that's what makes us happy. It's being able to find those small things There's so much around us that we're flooded by information. We create delusions and systems. What we believe isn't the problem. It's how much we try to poke holes in what other people believe to make ourselves feel better. In other words, you wouldn't argue with a person about the color of the grass. If you say it was green and they said it was red, you may come to the conclusion that maybe you just see things differently, or maybe you see colors differently. But you probably wouldn't get into a heated debate or argument about the color of the grass. You may just walk away and say the person doesn't know what they're talking about. But when it comes to religion, politics, we get very heated, we get angry, we get frustrated. It's because it's more than just our personal beliefs that are affected. It's the future of the world, the future of the entire planet. It is in the hands of the people today, the decisions we make. We could just devastate this planet overnight, but we could also bring it into as close to a utopia as we could imagine, which in my mind just means living a way that doesn't affect others negatively, where we can all, I saw a little clip earlier where they were saying how people want to abandon churches and eliminate places of worship, but in the ideal society we would have temples for worship, but they wouldn't be for worship. They would be temples for gathering, just like you do in a standard church, except for one temple would be for people who like to discuss philosophy. Another temple would be for those who have a strong sense of love, towards community. There would be ones that have to do with values and integrity. In other words, there would be temples for developing human qualities. Forget about the Ten Commandments, forget about the Bible, forget about the books. Everybody can use these as guides, but really what's important is to come together today and say, what do we know as a society? And what can we prove and not prove? And how much worth or value does what we can prove even have? I argued against religion for so long, and I finally understood its place in this world. It's not to be abolished, it's only to be polished.